Smiths are back after being renewed for another 2 seasons, and we can't wait to see who will star as a guest on the hit animated series. Celebrities get used to a certain life and expect it to filter through to every aspect and job they get. These celebs weren't afraid of making a demand or two to get what they wanted. Well, if you don't ask, you don't get, right? Many of the demands and requests made by these stars ultimately helped American Dad become so popular. Although it may have seemed a bit absurd at the time, the creators are happily rolling in the cash made by the show and definitely haven't had time to give any of the drama a second thought. So with that in mind then, I'm Ellie with What Culture here with 8 unusual demands made by guest stars on American Dad. Number 8. Buffy the Vampire Slayer got her on-screen bestie a role. Did you notice the familiar sounding voice in the Virtual Insanity episode? The voice of Stan's high school female android actually belonged to Sarah Michelle Gellar from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Not only did she manage to bag the cameo for herself, but she managed to convince the creators to give her on-screen bestie from the show, Alison Hannigan, a role too. This 2-for-1 deal turned out to be a big hit with fans of the animated series, as well as fans who remembered the 90s show from their childhood. The storyline follows Stan's attempts to be more involved in his son's life, and unfortunately for Steve, his love life too. Alison plays the role of Steve's very real love interest and competes with the droid for Steve's affection. The iconic duo may not have been reunited to slay any mystical beings this time, but it's still a pretty good episode. This demand made by a guest star is the perfect example of when having a bossy celeb in the recording studio actually ends up being a positive thing. Number 7. Danny Glover didn't want to sing. This controversial episode was scheduled to be released in December 2012, but had to be rescheduled for the following year due to a school shooting. The creators felt it would not be right or respectful to release the episode at the time, and instead replaced it with a repeat of a previous episode. The storyline of the episode follows the kidnapping of Steve by the Christmas demon Krampus. Minstrel Krampus is the yang to Santa's yin and decides to teach this naughty jackass kid a lesson. From the musical numbers to the plot, this episode was a fan favourite. Lethal Weapon's Danny Glover did the voice of Minstrel Krampus, and it's a true masterpiece. He did, however, refuse to do any of the singing for his part, which is arguably the best bit. Instead, the creators got Charles Bradley to come in and sing his rendition of Oogie Boogie from The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is excellent. This request turned out for the better because no one could have done it better than Bradley, and better to get a real singer in to do the part than have a hard-ass like Glover doing it. Number 6. Lisa Kudrow wanted more. One of the biggest and earliest highlights of the show was the episode in Season 2 called The Best Christmas Story Never, which featured actress Lisa Kudrow as Michelle, the ghost of Christmas past / the Tooth Fairy. Her character is just finding her feet as a spirit and doesn't give the best advice to a clearly distressed Stan as he must attempt to fix the future by killing Ronald Reagan in the past. Her character was a fan favourite, and the episode itself is extremely well written and great value for entertainment. Kudrow was set to return to the show for an episode in Season 3 titled The Most Adequate Christmas Ever. Fans were disappointed once they learned that the actress would not be returning for her role and that the creators had replaced her character but kept the name. It is said that Kudrow did not return to the show as she demanded more money for the role, and the creators would not agree during the negotiations. As important as it is to know your self-worth, it would have been nice to have seen Michelle return to screens again with another hilarious cameo from Kudrow. Maybe someday in the future they'll come to an agreement and we'll be able to experience the Christmas joy yet again. Number 5. The Weeknd wanted to write and star in his own episode. If The Weeknd likes your show, you should really let him write and star in his own episode. And that's exactly what Seth MacFarlane did when the singer reached out and expressed how big a fan he was and how much he would love to write and be in an episode. The episode A Star Boy Is Born follows the story of how Stan thought kidnapping The Weeknd would teach his son Steve a lesson. The result of this ingenious yet questionable scheme is a hilarious interaction between the star and the Smith family. Not only is the writing excellent, The Weeknd actually came up with some original song material just for the episode. The songs featured in the episode were all written by the star, making his performance that much more valuable. This opportunity was too good to say no to, and as a result, The Weeknd is credited as co-writer for the episode. A definite must-watch if you're looking for some light-hearted entertainment or feel like bopping out to some satirical songs with a bunch of cartoons in your living room. Number 4. Sir Patrick Stewart refused to be a paedophile. You know Stan's boss in the CIA who sounds kinda like Star Trek legend Sir Patrick Stewart? Yeah, that's That's actually him doing the voiceover. Despite appearing regularly on the show, he's still considered a guest star, and rightfully so. Known for his 5-decade acting career, Stewart's a movie superstar and probably one of the most established stars to feature on the show. He is apparently an absolute dream to work with, as he's got a wicked sense of humour and up to do and say almost anything. The almost comes in because when reading over the script with Seth MacFarlane, he put his foot down when his character was set to make a joke that would imply a level of paedophilia. Every actor has their boundaries, and Sir Patrick Stewart's happens to be distasteful jokes. This demand was one that definitely needed to be made, and thankfully no harm was done because he still features as Avery on the show and still delivers a great performance every time. No one would or should ever dare stand in the way of this noble movie relic. Number 3. Chris Pine wanted to be weird. The creators of the show have clearly felt pretty ballsy lately, as we've seen some pretty risky material in some of the more recent seasons. Episode 40 of season 14, Rabbit Ears, is totally a rip-off of the 1959 series The Twilight Zone, with some serious horror steroids injected. The episode follows Stan as he is punished yet again for his lack of selflessness and becomes trapped in an alternate reality inside of the TV. While trapped in the TV series Nighthawk's Hideaway, Stan comes across the host of the show, Alistair Kovacs. Alistair is voiced by Chris Pine, and boy did he weird this one up to the max. Pine actually requested a few script changes so that his character would come across as creepier and weirder. Whatever he did worked, because Alistair is one creepy guy throughout the entire interaction, and the whole episode gives you the chills. This star's request helped create a creepy yet comedic episode and showed off his ability to adapt to any role he is given. That or he's just a naturally weird guy. Number 2. CEELO got what he wanted. To kick off the 8th season of the series, the creators took the series in a completely different direction. This episode is run on pure star power and sulphur, and it's honestly such a masterpiece. CeELO Green is reportedly a big fan of American Dad, and it shows because he managed to work his way into the episode not only as a cartoon version of himself, but also as the regular version during the live action portion of the episode. After requesting a bigger role in the episode, the singer got what he wanted and literally got to host the entire episode. In the episode, Green voices himself as well as a hot tub plotting the death of any poor soul looking to have a bit of relaxation time. The episode has major Stephen King vibes to it and is a feast for both the eyes and ears. Stan falls for the wicked lies and villainous melodies he sings to him and eventually chooses the evil hot tub over his family. The episode is unorthodox and hilarious. It was a great opener to the 8th season and still has people fearing taking a dip in the holiday hot tub. Number 1. Kim Kardashian really liked Roger. Apparently, reality TV star Kim Kardashian is a big fan of American Dad and Roger. This star simply demanded to be on an episode of American Dad so that she could tick off the animated series on her list of must-do cameos. She has already featured on Family Guy, so it was an obvious next move for the A-list celeb. Having Kardashian involved not only added some hilarious comedic value to the show, but attracted a wider audience as she posted about it on her Instagram to her 310 million followers. In the episode, Kim K appears as a pink furry alien. She promptly falls in love with Roger and becomes a little too clingy for the male alien. In an attempt to get rid of her, he attempts to turn her into the government and have her killed. Subtle Roger. In true ironic style, she gets into a car crash and miraculously survives, emerging from the wreck in the form of Kim Kardashian. The episode closes perfectly with the line, "And that's how I became Kim Kardashian." Only Kim K can joke about her own existence. And that concludes our list. If you can think of any that we missed, then do let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell. Also, head over to Twitter and follow us there, and I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Littlechild. I've been Ellie with What Culture. I hope you have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon.